We are here with Jim DiSalvo, who is running for mayor for the Village of Highland Falls. Thank you for coming in today, Jim.
Thanks for having me.
I want to start by just asking you to give anyone who's watching a quick bio of yourself, who you are and why you're running for this office.
Sure, my name is James DiSalvo, and I live here in Highland Falls. I have my entire life. I've served in a few different positions in the community, town, village, county at one point. My professional career is I work in banking. Right now I'm a vice president and residential lender for Walk-Hill Valley Federal Savings and Loan. Why I want to run for mayor? As I had stated, I have served the community for quite some time actually, starting in when I was 21, I started running. The town has definitely changed. Some things for the better, some things that maybe we could have done a little better in order to facilitate better growth. But we can do good things down here. We can do good things by working more with bigger players in the county executive's office, Office of Tourism, for better economic development. Too much do we throw anything up against the wall and see what works. And I don't think that's a good way to handle it. I think we need to come up with a plan that could possibly coincide with the master plan that municipalities normally do. But we need to come up with an economic plan and try to maximize one of the biggest tourist attractions in New York State, which is West Point. So my reason for running, or why I'm running, would be that we need an economic development plan down here. We need to work more closely with the county. And maximize what we can to help local businesses and offset taxes.
So that very much leads into my next question, which is about what do you think are the top challenges facing our community right now?
Well, the top challenges that face our community are probably no different than any community in Orange County or the state of New York. You know, we always look at taxes because for our unique situation down here, our biggest issue has always been growth, right? We have 1,200 homes in the village. Maybe one that comes on, one comes off, depending on whether a new home gets built. So our biggest problem has always been growth. We have the same 1,200 properties paying the same taxes they have been for the last 20 years in perpetuity. So so growth is always an issue. So the only way to offset that is to try to have some kind of economic development, whether it's a hotel, whether it's different businesses on Main Street, whether it's partnering with the county in some kind of a fashion in order to have a hub down here for some kind of economic development to bring people together, because we have to take advantage of West Point in the sense of the tourism that comes there. Obviously as we get through COVID and things get a little bit more relaxed, that'll start picking up back again for our Main Street.
So Main Street is, I guess, your primary.
Yeah, sure.
Main Street and development.
Sure. There's not many different ways a municipality can pay for things. We're either doing it with taxes or borrowing or grants. So, going to the same folks to pay the same tax bill every year, we need to attract good, smart economic development in order to, and some kind of commercial base in order to offset real estate taxes.
So several of those things are in play right now. The potential for a hotel on Main Street, a new church being built on Main Street, the potential for an accelerator business. What can you do to facilitate making those things happen?
Well, I think in the couple examples that you mentioned was what I had stated before. We have one property coming off, the church, down towards the north end of Main Street, or south end, excuse me.
Coming off the tax rolls.
Coming off the tax rolls. And then we have the potential for a hotel coming on the tax rolls. I probably would have handled the hotel a little differently. They did work with some of the county agencies, which I think is good. Those agencies do provide incentives for businesses to come. I would have probably approached the public a little different about how we did that. And I definitely would have approached the property owner on how we did that. I mean, we've had a few issues with that building now since that property owner's owned it, with sheets of metal flying off of it, and the overall upkeep of it is a little, poor. So, but it's not in its entirety, it's not a bad idea. It's a very good project, I think. Once it does get up and running, COVID pretty much put a stifle on a lot of different things this year, and the hotel business is definitely one of them. I'm hoping from my conversations with him and the different, boards and committees I'm involved in, he will be up and get moving with building soon. Again, we just have to wait to see how things get relaxed with COVID.
You mentioned tapping into tourism. Are we looking to provide opportunities for tourists here or for our residents with development?
I would say both. Having lived here my entire life, people always ask me when I'm out, out of town, do you go to an Army football game? And I say, yeah, I've been to a few of them, and I support Army football. And but it's kind of like having a swimming pool. Like you have it and you take care of it, but you don't swim that much. So I don't participate as much as I probably would like to. But it's definitely, we can do stuff for both residents that are here and attract new people to the community to spend money. I think at the end of the day, we want people to come here, visit, stay, shop, eat, spend money, and then eventually leave to attract those tourist dollars. But we do want to have people come here and say, hey, we really like it here. I'd like to buy a house here. I'd like to raise a family here. This is a nice little community. The schools are doing better. The crime is very low. We have a PD. The roads look good. The sidewalks look nice. I mean, that's what you want. You want to attract folks to come here to live too.
Sure. You mentioned police and you mentioned roads, two areas that have been talked about for consolidation reasons. Give me an overview of your sense on consolidation. Should it happen? Should it not happen? How do you do it?
Well, I just want to mention two things because you said roads. We talk a lot about infrastructure, and I've always been under the impression, serving in the different positions, that it's nice that politicians will sometimes pat themselves on the back to getting a road paved or a sidewalk done. But these are things that should be done regardless of anything. It's upkeep. It's just like putting new shingles on your roof or making sure the gutters are working. The infrastructure is maintenance for the community, and if we don't keep that up to date, then you're just not going to look right. But those are things that should be done, and the village board has done a good job in the last few years on getting that done. But it's been an effort of all the board. Each board member had talked to different state representatives, county representatives to bring money in to do those projects. And they got done, and there's more to do. On consolidation, since I have started, when I first ran for town board when I was 21, we have talked about consolidation. Now, I'm only 41, but from what I understand from some of the community elders, we've been talking about it for probably 40 years, maybe longer. Some services have been consolidated: sanitation, building department, recreation, just to name a few. Having sat on the town board, the town budget for police department always looks nice because it's a part-time department. There's no full-timers there. And for what they need it for in Fort Montgomery, it works. In the village, it's a little different. There is a full-time police department. There are full-timers and part-timers. There is dispatch. It's just a little different. We're one community, but it's a little different. It's a little more condensed up here. There's much more population. And whether you're old, young, or in the middle, I think people identify with a full-time police department for the village. Now, what that looks like, whether it's consolidated with the town or it's a village-wide PD, yet to be seen. We've done some studies. A few studies say the village PD is the full-time. One or two studies say maybe the town-wide. I think it's important that the town understands what they would be taking on. I don't think it's something where you could say, I believe one year I heard from a town councilman, we'll just have a full-time PD, a full town PD, but it'll all be part-time. And I can't, as an elected representative of the village, I can't have less service for equal cost or greater cost. And to date, the communication with the town, and I'm not putting it just on them because we have to put a plan together that's not political. Have folks come in, do a study, and not be political. It's got to go by the numbers and service. So anyway, if it's going to go to the town as a consolidated effort, then the town needs to be prepared to deal with that cost. And then the village needs to be prepared to not have that service, not have control of that service. And what would it cost if we got into that situation and didn't like it and had to get out of it? So can it be done? Absolutely, it can be done. But we have to make sure that we're doing it, that's gonna be best for the residents, best for the taxpayers, and that we continue to have equal or greater service at the same cost, less. If it is a higher cost, then the service has got to be better. I think folks can understand if they're paying a little more for something, if the service is better. You might shop somewhere else, and it might be a little bit more money for produce, but you know the produce is fresh. So if the service is going to be increased, and the department can run more efficiently, and it's better, and it's a one PD, whether it's village or town, I think we could do it.
You speak about the police department, same goes for other departments, highway, for instance, water, sewer?
Yeah, the village of Highland Falls pretty much has a full-time sewer water department. I don't believe the town does. If they do, it's overseen, I think, by the town highway superintendent, and then they may have a part-timer here and there. But the village does provide water to the town, so that may be a low-hanging fruit item that we could probably do, and maybe sewer too. I know the town's just underwent a pretty big sewer overhaul. And I think they still have, they could probably, get rid of some of their sewage with us.
So if you become mayor, you're open to continue to exploring consolidation?
If I am elected mayor, I want to put this conversation to an end. So we will do it right away. We will have a study done that's not during a mayoral election time, so that it doesn't become a hot topic issue. And then once the numbers are what they are, and we have the meetings, and we talk about it, then, we figure out what it is, and then at the end of the day, it's over. We just move on, and we keep doing good things for the community.
Which takes us to this. You may have just answered it. Your first priority, top thing you'd like to do, if elected.
It'll probably be two-pronged. We will deal with, any type of merge service or consolidation discussion. And I also have to hit the ground running with some kind of economic development plan. Have to.
COVID related or just in general?
I think COVID's going to take care of itself in the sense of, county, state, federal government dealing with that. I think it's an issue for local governments to deal with, to make sure that families are taken care of in the community. But other than that, it's probably not in the best interest for it to be in our wheelhouse. We have to make sure the local government stuff is being done. But it's definitely a concern, but I think we get more of our information from the top down, and that's when it deals with pandemics.
Talk to me about your running mates.
My running mates are two fantastic people. They each have qualities that will work best for the next 4 years. Mr. Ramus has a good background in engineering, good background in environmental, different environmental issues. He's big on that. He's big on youth activities for, kids outdoors. Jim will sometimes overanalyze, but he is good in that sense, because there's some things in his wheelhouse that work best for him that maybe don't work best for me. So that is a very good quality of James Ramus. Mr. Phillips, Gary Phillips, new to the game. Gary has a very good management style. He is take care of a task, have an issue, get it solved, get it done, and let's move on to the next one, which in government is lost. I don't care what level, local, state, county. They talk about it for months, years, put it through another committee. Gary's the type of guy to take an issue, deal with it, plan for it, execute, and move on to the next one. So that's huge. It's definitely going to keep me on my toes, and I think the board on their toes.
Are you using any website or form of social media to get out campaign information?
We do have an email address, and we're using the page I've created for myself over the years. But the email address is allforthepeople2021@gmail.com, and the Facebook page is Friends of DiSalvo.
Okay. We have 45 seconds left. Tell me something you admire about you're in the current administration, but the current administration, what have you all accomplished in the last couple of years?
Listen, I don't, real quick, we have a few people running this year for mayor. Nothing against the current administration for what they have done. No one can sit there and say that, either the current board or the current mayor hasn't done things in the community, you could see it. There's just a different philosophy, different mission statement, and that's what's gonna separate us when we move forward.
Thank you. I appreciate your time and good luck in the election.
Thanks for having me.
Push the red button for me.